One just can't ignore how fragile companies and their performance can be. In fact, you would be surprised to know that of the Fortune 500 companies, that is the top 500 companies of the world by their revenue, that existed back in 1955, around 87% did not exist in 2011. Imagine companies once operating at the top of their games globally in respective industries vanishing into nothingness a few years down the line. In fact, the life expectancy of a company has been falling exponentially. In the midst of this comes the king of longevity, which has not only survived all these years but has also consolidated its market position, ruling the paints industry in India over decades. It's none other than Asian Paints. Founded in 1942, it is one of the only companies to have delivered over 20% in share price CAGR with over 3000% appreciation since 2000. Over time, it has become the third largest paint company in Asia and ninth largest coatings company in the world. In India particularly, it has demonstrated 50 plus years of market leadership and is 3x the nearest competitor. In fact, the profits of Asian Paints is more than twice the sum of net profits of Berger and Nerolac, the next best players. So how did Asian Paints fare so well all these years, unaffected by the competitive market? What are the various strategies that they use to scale their business from 1940s to the paints giant that we see Asian Paints as today? Well, we must start with tracing the journey of Asian Paints from its inception. In the early 1940s, India, being a British territory, was greatly affected by World War II. As a retaliation measure, the government had put a ban on the imports of paints. The Indian paints industry back then was quite nascent, with a few foreign and Indian companies. An opportunist and an excellent strategic thinker as he was, Mr. Champaklal Chokshi saw this as a great opportunity to build a paints company. And so he, along with his three friends, laid the foundation of Asian Paints in Mumbai. Mr. Champaklal Chokshi would have been the dream hire of every consulting company today. I say so because he was an excellent market researcher and an observer. He could break down problems to a very fundamental level and made use of market and consumer trends to convert those problems into opportunities. Back when he decided to start Asian Paints, he figured out that the Indian paints industry had two segments: the B2B industrial paint segment and the B2C decorative paint segment. He observed that the people in the rural areas used paints frequently for their house as well as for festivities like Pongal and Pola. Recognizing this need, he started in the decorative paints space. However, it wasn't an easy ride. Big distributors ignored them since they were only interested in associating with big brands. As a response to this, Chokshi decided to go rural. They had their first distributor in Sangli, Maharashtra. Partnering directly with small dealers brought in a lot of benefits: greater margins, better dealer service and satisfaction, and lower costs to consumers. Over time, the demand for Asian Paints skyrocketed and it started being recognized in the urban distributor circles as well. Thus, we see how intelligently Chokshi used the rural to urban approach to crack the initial distribution. Moreover, the constant innovations that Asian Paints introduced ensured that it keeps penetrating deeper into the market. One such innovation that drastically changed the fortunes of the company was introduction of washable distemper by Asian Paints against substitutes like dry distemper and plastic emulsion. While on one hand, chuna could come off and stick to clothes, plastic emulsion, though high quality, was 5 times as expensive. Washable distemper combined the best of both worlds. It became an instant hit with the Indian masses. Consequently, both consumer base and dealer networks expanded. This can also be attributed to the core focus that Asian Paints has retained over the years. While other competitors like Jensen and Nicholson diversified and lost track. Asian Paints' love for technology and innovation does not stop here though. In fact, you will be surprised to know that Mr. Chokshi got Asian Paints India's first mainframe computer for rupees 8 crore, even before ISRO and IITs got their hands on it. He used that to leverage the power of data analytics to identify demand trends and to effectively plan out the supply chain. Also, it was one of the first Indian companies to do branch billing back in the 1970s and use GPS to track its delivery trucks in real time for handling logistics. Clearly, Asian Paints always operated far ahead of its time. Today, it has one of the world's best supply chain infrastructure in the world, catering to a 70,000 plus dealer network day in and day out. And when it comes to dealers, they are no less than a family to Asian Paints, which does all that it takes to solve their problems. For example, with the introduction of tinting machines, dealers could generate a lot of color shades without keeping much inventory. However, it was prohibitively expensive for dealers to buy those. So Asian Paints stepped in by paying the initial cost while the dealer would just bear the higher charges paid over the years. No wonder Asian Paints has more tinting machines than Berger and Nerolac combined. It also provides a regular payment performance discount to its dealers for paying regularly within 90 days as against the normal 180 days working capital period. On the one hand, this leads to faster capital rotation, and on the other hand, it leaves greater margin for dealers in a low margin industry. It is a result of consistent high quality practices that Asian Paints has achieved this position. It recognizes that innovation is the only constant. Even their future plans reflect this commitment. They have recognized that going forward, with labor costs skyrocketing to as high as 90% of the total project cost, they'll have to invest in DIY tools and switch to a service-oriented model. Towards this end, they have already launched experience stores, color consulting, as well as painting solution services. Moreover, they are on their way to increase their share of other products in our house, such as home decor, interior designing, modular kitchens, and bath accessories. In fact, its home improvement business already comprises of 2.3% of revenues, which is expected to grow exponentially as it leverages the brand power. Truly, a once-in-a-century company that has defied all odds against it with agility, innovation, and focus to emerge as victorious every single time. If you found this piece of information insightful, do not forget to subscribe to our channel so that the YouTube algorithm works in our favor. Also, hit the like button and show us your support. See you.